And then fucking Chrono Cross: The Radical Dreamers Edition.
All right. So
Uh,
I don't care for Chrono Cross. This is
mhm.
well known.
This is documented.
However, one of the things I care the least about Chrono Cross is it's one of the only PlayStation 1 games I can think of in which I actually was annoyed by its frame rate. And this
Okay.
predates me knowing what frame rate was.
Okay.
So having new releases of that game and like a PC version, cool. Also, despite my dislike of Chrono Cross, the fact that they are actually translating and putting out Radical Dreamers is the
Like,
craziest
what?
goddamn thing ever.
That is so insane. So yeah, for the longest while, for anyone who doesn't know, Radical Dreamers was a fucking text game that came out in between Cross and Trigger that was for the Satellaview. This
Like a
weird
TV
it was
thing.
a Super Famicom add-on that relied on downloading its content via satellite, and like it was only for that. It was mainly third party supported, and like and it was same writer director behind the other Chrono games, and it was the introduction of the characters of Cross. So um, it just a lot of what that text adventure did served as the basis of the skeleton for what Cross became, because Kid was in it, Surge was in it, and then there was well, what was supposed to be Guile is actually
Yeah.
Magil or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
um but it is fucking crazy they're going through all that. Now obviously I talked about Cross with the mobile game the other day, and I've been yucking it up and all that shit. So like, real talk, like all kayfabe aside, um a bunch of the shit in Chrono Cross's story is complete nonsense compared to
Oh yeah.
Trigger, and
Oh yeah. It's very
and
unclear compared to a easily understandable Trigger.
and overall, I would say that the contributions of Cross weaken the canon of Chrono Trigger. I'm not I don't have any illusions about that. That's a truth. I'm full on board that. I just think that there's some cool shit that I have some memories of that's like, oh man, remember that? Remember fucking battle music with 9/8 time signature? Remember uh uh Glenn and Garai and Dario and all that stuff? It's like, yeah, that stuff was kind of cool.
I tell you what, if they're remastering the music, if they literally like clean up that fucking dissonant violin breakdown in the first 10 seconds of the battle theme, if they literally do that, I
Nah,
will I will rate the game 4 points higher than I did as a child.
nah, it's staying. 9/8 time signature battle themes, dude. Like, this game is buck wild with it, and they're doing it on purpose. Um, Now the things, you know what else is interesting? And hey, if you're interested in playing Chrono Cross and you've never done so, and spoilers, I'm going to talk about spoilers for this super old thing. But there's something about it too that I'm like, yeah, that's interesting to think about in the context of the entire Chrono Trigger timeline, is the idea of what if uh, the world from 2300 that no longer gets to exist because you save it
Hmm.
became its own thing. You know,
That's a
like,
cool idea. Yeah.
that's a cool idea. Is like, you've corrected the timeline. You took care of Lavos. Now this future imperfect that existed has nowhere else to go. What happens to that world is a fun idea to introduce. So that's one of the things that it's like, oh yeah, no, like that's something that Cross has going for it. You know, it just
And
it just
also,
takes
most of the music, genuinely, most of the music is excellent.
It is.
It's just the track you hear the most often in a JRPG with random battles is one of the shittiest battle tracks I've ever heard in my life.
Hard disagree, but it's not the track you hear the most, actually. I would say the track you hear the most is probably literally just because like a bunch of the music is just literally Chrono Trigger music.
Yeah.
You know, the victory battle theme. Da, 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 da. Like it's the Chrono Trigger battle like victory theme, and like that shit you're hearing all the time is great as well, you know. But it's memorable because of how weird it is with the da, 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 da.
Yeah, you
I
say
think
memorable.
I think some of the other stuff is like the fact that they had the ambition to create a game where there are 45 fucking party members that can join up is insane. That's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. Who could do that? Definitely not the entire Suikoden series.
Well, right? But here's the problem now is how much time are you going to get to spend with any of these characters, and how many of these
4 minutes?
And how many of these, like, yo, check this dude ate a mushroom and his head is now a mushroom. He is joining your party so that you can fix that shit.
Yeah, the
like,
Chrono Cross.
That's it.
Like, it says, look at all these party members. Yeah, okay, here's the party members that matter.
Yeah.
Guile, Glenn, Kid, and Harl.
Well, no, Guile was supposed to matter, but he doesn't matter anymore.
Okay, fine. Glenn, Kid, and Harl. And of those three, really, only Kid matters.
Hold on a minute. Yeah. No, they don't matter. Like, you want to be like, hey, Karsh was in there, and what was that dude's name? The fucking whatever, the general of the dragoons.
Wow, yeah, they mattered so much.
Fargo the pirate was pretty cool, but they didn't matter. No. A bunch of that shit was irrelevant. But there's some people who are like, oh, I remember that guy. He was kind of cool. That's about it.
I'll give both a shout out and
Viper,
a diss to Chrono Cross for attempting something and then failing utterly at it. They wanted every single character in the game to have a different accent. But because it was prior to the invention of voice acting, they had to do it all through punctuation, and man, was that not effective at all.
What ya talking about, cha? Don't cha know, cha, pat, cha?
Like, I specifically remember Irene is supposed to have a Greek accent, and they're using, like, punctuation I have literally never seen again in my life.
Are you thinking of, the mermaid. The mermaid, yeah, with the umlauts. There's umlauts over everything she says. Fucking...
There's, like, you know, we speak French, so we're familiar with at least one language, is goofy little, you know, chapeau seco flex and accent aigu and the fucking the little 5. But like, you can't just do that with 10, 15 different languages. Nobody's gonna know. No one person's gonna know what these accents are supposed to be.
Lucia was like, I'm assuming you're going for like Russian lady here, but some of it is not coming across as like, some of your zats are turning into dats and shit. Yeah, it was like a filter run over the text for your party members. That was weird.
Hey,
excuse me.
So, but Chrono Cross Remaster, good for the people that like it. Incredible that Radical, like, genuinely, golf claps for Radical Dreamers translation. But more importantly than itself is that it is another brick in the wall that is the verification of that NVIDIA leak from about 6 months ago.
Oh, on the list of things that...
It was there on the list. And that list contains lots and lots and lots of good shit. Of note to Square Enix in particular, there's a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster on that leak list. And an FF9 remake on there.
That's pretty interesting.
There's also... hey, there's a Capcom part of that list. Let's see if this is a shocking leak. Resident Evil 4 remake. Street Fighter 6,
Gasp.
Dragon's Dogma, and a new Monster Hunter. What? Oh my!
I cannot believe it. I am undone. No,
Tekken 8. Oh my God! Really?
So here's the thing. Just going back to Cross though for a bit, is like if as like I fully as I'm like, please understand that like anyone picking this up that is like, yo, Chrono Trigger was cool. It's like this is not anywhere near as good, and also there's some really dumb fucking party members like that fucking literal Olimar alien that hangs out with you, Starkey.
Oh, you want the ultimate? You want
you
the
know?
absolute? You want the most confusing party member in Chrono Cross? I'll tell you. I remember its goddamn name. I remember it so vividly. It's Poshu.
The Poshul, the doggy, the fucking purple doggy.
Yeah. You know why it's so goddamn weird?
Uh-huh.
Because Poshul, the pink, like, fat Shih Tzu, is apparently an archetype that the devs of that game love, because that character shows up almost exactly the same in Xenogears as a tiny little pink and white mascot character called Choo Choo.
Huh. How about that? And that's not weirder to you than Skelly, the clown skeleton who you put together by finding his bones piece by piece?
No.
Okay. Well,
listen. Right. Again, Woolie, remember, I live in my house. Therefore, skeleton... There's a fucking skeleton right there!
It's in view. It's within view. Yeah. Yeah. That shit was wild. I also like the idea of slowly putting together a party member. That's fun. In this game where as soon as you talk to somebody and a portrait pops up, you're like, okay, well, when do you join? You know? You find a kid, it's like, yeah, you gonna join? It's like, not only that, his mom gets a portrait. Well, anyway, just it's like set your expectations to like fucking wacky with the narrative in this thing. And like also, we are possibly not legally allowed to super call this Chrono Trigger 2. So we're just gonna keep it legally distinct, but also be really obvious about it and go and lean into it super heavy at points, but then keep some distance. And like, yeah, that's a feeling where you're like, you're probably not going to see that a Trigger 2 name exist at some point. But
never.
I was going to say that like, as someone who is an appreciator of Cross for its wild shit, despite knowing the dumb, I do feel for someone like you who's like, fuck this game ruined my life, because there was that era when the DS because there was an era when the DS game came out, and if you hated Chrono Cross, boy were you mad with the changes, because that was cementing that the thing you loved was not only was Cross not going anywhere, but it was creeping backwards, because one, they added the Shala Lavos stuff back into Trigger, and two, they added finding baby kid at the end as a cutscene. So now Cross stuff is happening in the first game you liked.
So I should mention
that would rip hair out for anybody that was.
I should mention, to be genuinely fair to Chrono Cross, I was doomed in terms of like my first and second and last impressions of that game. In that it was absolutely advertised as the big sequel to Chrono Trigger, and man, that was not what they should have done. Because it is barely tangentially related to Chrono Trigger, and if you're a huge CT mark, all the stuff they actually do with the CT stuff is tell you, yeah, you know how you saved the world? Yeah, everyone got boots stomped into dirt and they pissed on them. And you're like,
it is not. No. So I gotta say, it is not barely tangentially related, because the back half of it starts to dial it up, and the finale is entirely reliant on Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Right.
most of what's actually in that game is not actually related to CT at all.
No,
Like,
no, no.
It ends up like near the end being like, oh, this was all because of
this was all because of this. Yeah.
But like, and when you do start getting, you're like, finally, I get to find out what happened to my favorite characters.
Yeah. No.
It's like it's like what a vindictive creator would do that he's sick of an old game.
But also, if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily know Trigger and you're just playing Cross alone for the first time,
You'll be confused as shit.
well, at first you'll be like, okay, this is its own thing, because the first, again, 80% of it is all that. And then when it starts tying back in, you'll be like, I don't know about this, but okay, maybe it has to do with whatever. They do have the little ghosts that explain stuff, but your big drop on like the like, oh my god, it turned out that it was Shala. And if someone has they're like, someone who's never played it is like, who?
It was Shala from that one timeline you didn't fix. Like,
and then
okay.
it's, and then you split, and now we get into Guilty Gear mode because we got to start worrying about the Jackos and the Arias.
So there's all that, and then there's the fact that I famously hate the battle theme, which is like a downer because it's a battle theme. You hear it all the time. And then to like what essentially sealed the deal for me in terms of like my bad first run at that game was that it's one of those fun little games where there's a really asinine requirement to get the real ending. You have to cast a bunch of spells in a certain way and like fill up that colored board into certain colors.
You got to use the element. Yeah, you got to use the elements, then use the Chrono Cross. Yeah.
And if you do anything other than that, the game just straight up ends and shows you a video of a Japanese lady sitting in a chair for the entirety of the credits. And
well, no, she's also standing on the train tracks and looking at Shibuya Crossing.
And you're like 10 years old, and you're like, what the fuck was that?
This game is wild, bro. Cross is a trip. You have to lead into it. It's the only way. The only way is to lead into it. There's a cosplayer.
Glare at me. I am doing Chrono Cross a service more than I ever have.
There is a cosplayer.
You haven't been listening to me at all.
Not really. No.
Yeah. Okay. I've been going. To be fair, this is how I attain my bad opinions about it. Because I had a really bad time with it as a child.
Yeah.
Don't never forget the blonde cosplayer in the wig, standing around Japan. Being the like, the hey, remember kid. Oh, and also big like, kid's the big tomboy, style character. And then like, hey, yo, what if like Luca was like, hey, yo, cut out that tomboy shit, become a pretty girl already. And then kid's like, oh, okay.
I don't remember that at all.
Okay, well, there's like one of the final messages is like a letter that she's like, "Hey, you'll become stop being a tomboy, become a pretty girl," and then she's like, "I'm kid, I'm tough," and then like the last shot is like she's wearing a pretty dress and she has a bow in her hair. She's decided to accept that. Look, it's her.
And I tried really hard to like that game. I even beat I forget what the name was, but it was like Glenn with the sword. I say it was
his brother,
the super boss. Yeah,
yeah. There's Darai and fucking Darai and anyway, whatever. Yeah,
you get one of two unironic, uncynical pieces of CT fan service in the entire game.
Masa and Mune.
Yeah, the other one is when you're in the weird future area and you go regen your health, but you're still hungry.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah.
Oh, there's a couple of different fan service things. I mean, the fucking
yeah, but uncynical ones.
Uncynical fan service.
Yeah. What? You just hand me a star fruit?
Yeah.
Does this mean that our hearts will be linked forever?
Oh my god, just eat it.
And then mechanically as well, like it's not Light World, Dark World, but World 1, World 2 is a thing that is not as interesting as like eras and shit, you know. But anyway,
Well,
that's
it would have been more interesting if they were more different.
sure.
But it was a PlayStation 1 game with pre-rendered backgrounds, so they
It
couldn't
was
be that
insanely
different.
expensive, yeah. Also, like the disc switch is fucking at the 90% mark, so like get ready for cutscenes and music, you know. Yeah.
Wow, Starfruit tastes like shit.
Oh, also, remember the um the Dino not Dino Tights, the Azalas people?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing where it's like that alternate reality where dinosaurs were going to inherit the earth if not for reptites. Thank you. If dinosaurs were going to inherit the earth if not for Lavos being the fucking meteor that crashed. Alt reality, they actually continue to exist and they evolve over time until eventually reptites become these giant grand fucking creatures that are dragons. And that's why you're seeing dragons exist, and you know, they look like fantasy dragons, but really you're just taking Azala's people and the reptites and future forwarding their evolutionary process. You're like,
Yeah, whatever.
okay.
That shit's stupid.
I see it. No, I see it. I see it. All right. Chrono Cross is coming, and you can't avoid it. How'd you feel about like swapping from Surge to fucking Lynx for like the entire back half of the game?
Best part of the game.
Stop being Surge. You want to be Lynx?
It's by far the most interesting and coolest part of the entire game.
You think it's gonna last like one dungeon or something, and it just
it's so
fucking
it's like a
stays.
third of the total runtime.
It's you recreate your party like on the opposite end. Yeah, you spend so much time as Lynx.
No.
Yeah,
No wonder Paige likes it so much.
Oh. But why does he look like a Lynx though?
I don't remember.
Oh, it's
Is it
because
Surge is afraid of cats?
So because when the panther attacked him when he was a child, he had a fear of cats, and then his father, who was also exposed to the frozen flame, becomes he turns into Lynx-faced being.
You remember
And then
fucking Chrono Trigger was like,
wait,
hey dudes,
no,
what are we gonna
I'm
do?
not done.
Let's go back in time and
Shut
punch
up,
a dinosaur.
I'm not done. And then the computer, Fate, takes over your father's new frozen flamified Lynx version, and that's the person who's piloting the body.
You know what fucking Chrono Cross is? Chrono Cross is the asshole that watches Back to the Future 1 and 2 with you and goes, actually, you know, that would be he wouldn't be able to do that because of the timelines, and you know,
Like you can't.
And you're like, shut up! I just want to see Doc Brown hold the thing with the lightning, you fucking asshole.
You can't recap that shit or any of the stuff with Fate and not. You have to laugh at it. It's the only way forward. You have to just embrace that shit, man. You know, and I say this as like someone who fucking thinks Chrono Trigger is one of the best games ever made. You know. Anyways, it'd be what it be. You know, it's not Glenn the Frog. It's just another Glenn. But
Dude, that's the weirdest one by far.
But he's just some guy. But he's a swordsman, and he inherits the Einhanzer, and then he can succeed it in Double Blade. And then you can X-cut. You can't tell me you don't get a little tingle when you get a double tech or a triple tech going.
Chrono Cross is like they took all the shittiest and most cringe parts of Final Fantasy IX and combined it with the worst Chrono Trigger fan fiction of all time.
X cut.
Except for that part. That part's cool.
And then Z. Z, because you all three can do it. Bop, bop, bop.
Anyway, there's so much news. Let's
I
move
know,
on.
but Chrono Cross though. Dude, I could just anyway,
I should stream that, and so people just get mad every day.
Fine. I can't stall for any. Well, no, we already talked about Kirby. We
Why
can
are
move
you
on.
fucking stalling?
Kirby is next, but we already talked about Kirby, so it's gross. Moving on.